Some coins slip right through our fingers without a second thought. Others, well, they quietly carry a story worth thousands of dollars, tucked into their tiny frames. Today, we're taking a closer look at two modern quarters that could be sitting unnoticed in someone's desk drawer, coin jar, or old collection, the Colorado State Quarter and the Alaska State Quarter. These aren't just pocket change, they're miniature treasures, especially when you know exactly what to look for. Let's kick things off with the Colorado State Quarter, a coin that's much more than a tribute to mountain peaks and sweeping landscapes. The Colorado State Quarter was released in 2006 as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, a series that ran from 1999 to 2008. This particular coin honors Colorado's rich natural beauty, showcasing the iconic Longs Peak surrounded by evergreen trees with the words, "Colorful Colorado," etched across the bottom. On the surface, it's a beautiful and straightforward design, but beneath that mountainous scene lies a world of nuances that can separate a regular quarter from a four-figure rarity. Colorado quarters were struck at 3 different mints, Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, for proof coins. Now, most circulated Colorado quarters are pretty common. They were minted by the millions. But it's the errors, the quirks that happen during the minting process, that can send their value soaring. One of the most talked about errors on the Colorado quarter is the extra leaf variety. Specifically, a die gouge created the appearance of an extra leaf on the tree next to Longs Peak. It's subtle enough that casual collectors might miss it, but seasoned eyes know exactly where to look. There are actually 2 major types of these extra leaf errors, the extra leaf high and the extra leaf low. The difference between the two is the placement of the added leaf, with one positioned higher on the branch and one nestled lower. Both versions are highly sought after, but the extra leaf low tends to command slightly higher prices due to its greater scarcity. Identifying this error requires a sharp eye, a magnifying glass, and a bit of patience, but spotting it can literally mean the difference between 25 cents and a few $1,000s. Speaking of value, let's talk numbers. In circulated condition, these error coins can fetch anywhere from $200 to $500, depending on where and I appeal. However, when you find one in mint state, and we're talking grades like MS 65 and up, the story changes dramatically. High-grade examples of the extra leaf error have been known to sell at auction for upwards of $3,000. In fact, a pristine MS 67 extra leaf low Colorado quarter once brought in over $4,000 at auction, which is mind-blowing when you think about the coin's original face value. Another interesting piece of trivia, collectors initially thought these extra leaf errors were intentionally created by mischievous mint employees. It sparked a wave of controversy in the numismatic community. The U.S. Mint eventually chalked it up to accidental die damage during production, but that air of mystery only added to the quarter's allure. After all, a little controversy never hurts when it comes to the world of collectible coins. Condition plays a huge role in the value of any coin, and the Colorado quarter is no exception. Circulated examples with noticeable wear, things like smoothing of the highest points, scratches, or nicks, will always command less. On the flip side, uncirculated coins straight from original rolls or bags can net big premiums. Proof versions from San Francisco, struck in a shiny mirror-like finish, are stunning but typically don't feature the famous extra leaf error since proofs go through stricter quality control. Die state matters too. Coins struck earlier with a fresh die tend to be sharper and more detailed, while those struck after the die has worn down can look mushy or blurred. In the case of the extra leaf quarters, sharper die states with clear, crisp extra leaves are always more desirable and command stronger prices. Another tiny but fascinating feature collectors sometimes obsess over, doubling. While true hub doubling, the kind that results in valuable double die varieties, hasn't been definitively documented for the Colorado quarter, minor machine doubling does occur. It's worth noting, though, that machine doubling doesn't add value. If anything, it can be a bit of a letdown. But for enthusiasts who enjoy exploring every fine detail under magnification, even spotting minor anomalies can be a thrill. If you're hunting through rolls or searching coin shows for a Colorado quarter to add to your collection, it pays to be extremely detail-oriented. Even among error coins, quality matters, and finding one with strong eye appeal, minimal contact marks, vibrant luster, and a well-centered strike, can mean the difference between an okay addition and a truly elite piece in your collection. And one last insider tip, many error coins get improperly stored once people realize they have something valuable. Keeping your extra leaf quarter, or any rare coin, in a safe, inert holder like a Mylar flip or an airtight capsule can help preserve its condition and maximize its future resale value. Professional grading by services like PCGS or NGC also boosts credibility and can significantly increase what buyers are willing to pay. When you consider all of that, the history, the controversy, the drama of the extra leaf error, the wild auction results, it's easy to see why the Colorado State Quarter has cemented itself as one of the crown jewels of modern U.S. coin errors. It's not just a pretty piece of change, it's a true hidden gem that can make a collector's day, or even their entire year. Now, while Colorado's rocky peaks have given us a collectible marvel, the frosty wilderness of Alaska brings its own thrilling chapter to this story. Let's slide right into the world of the Alaska State Quarter, where a hungry bear and a tiny die chip have caused a massive stir among collectors. The Alaska State Quarter rolled out in 2008, near the tail end of the 50 State Quarters program. It's a bold design, a massive grizzly bear clutching a salmon in its jaws, standing proud in front of a backdrop of rugged wilderness. Along with the bear and fish, the motto, "The Great Land," reminds us of Alaska's untamed spirit. The imagery is strong, powerful, and perfect for a state that has always been larger than life. But just like the Colorado Quarter, something a little extra slipped into a small number of Alaska quarters, something that turned an already cool design into a collector's prize. Before diving into the errors, it's important to appreciate the historical flavor here. Alaska's coin captures its deep connection to wildlife and natural resources. The grizzly bear isn't just a symbol, it's a way of life in Alaska. When the U.S. Mint worked with state officials to finalize the design, they wanted something iconic that instantly felt Alaskan, and they absolutely nailed it. Millions of these quarters flooded into circulation, minted in Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D, and struck in proof finishes in San Francisco, S. At a glance, most Alaska quarters look identical, but sharp-eyed collectors spotted something strange. On some coins, the bear seems to have an extra claw. Dubbed the extra claw error, this anomaly isn't part of the intended design. It's the result of a die break, basically, a small crack or chip in the die that leaves behind an unintended raised area on the coin. This particular break made it look like the bear had a sixth claw on its right paw, near the fish it's gripping. Now, a bear with an extra claw might sound minor, but in the coin world, die breaks like this can turn common coins into highly sought-after pieces. What makes the Alaska extra claw error even more fascinating is how neatly it fits into the coin's design. Unlike many die breaks that look messy or obviously wrong, the extra claw almost looks deliberate, unless you know exactly what the original artwork was supposed to show. Finding an Alaska extra claw error isn't exactly like winning the lottery, but it's not something you stumble upon every day either. Most reported examples come from Denver minted coins, although a few Philadelphia examples have surfaced too. And as with most errors, condition is everything when it comes to value. Let's talk numbers. Circulated Alaska quarters with the extra claw error usually sell between $50 and $150, depending on how heavily worn they are. That alone is a pretty impressive return on a 25-cent investment. However, uncirculated examples, coins that have never seen a vending machine or a parking meter, can go for much more. Nice mint state specimens, particularly those graded MS 65 and above, have sold for $300 to $600. The real heavy hitters, graded MS 67 or higher with outstanding eye appeal, have reached prices close to $1,000 at auction. One notable auction record involves an MS 68 Alaska Extra Claw quarter graded by NGC, which brought in just over $1,200. That's right, over $1,000 for a modern state quarter, simply because of a tiny, almost hidden imperfection. It's a perfect example of why collectors obsess over details. The story doesn't end with just value and rarity, though. The Alaska Extra Claw quarter also carries a bit of a mystery. Some collectors argue that more than one variety of the extra claw exists. Different shapes and sizes of the die chip have been documented, leading some experts to categorize them into subtypes, like small claw, large claw, and faint claw. While the U.S. Mint hasn't officially recognized these as separate varieties, the idea that there are degrees of the error adds an extra layer of excitement for treasure hunters. And for anyone wondering if Alaska quarters without the extra claw are worth anything, in general, they're worth face value unless they're in exceptional condition. High-grade non-error Alaska quarters, especially proofs with deep cameo finishes, can still be desirable to collectors trying to build full sets in pristine condition, but the crazy premiums belong almost exclusively to the error coins. Condition grading, once again, plays a giant role. Circulated examples will usually show dulling on the bear's fur, smoothing over fine details like the salmon scales, and nicks around the rim. Those can still be valuable if the extra claw is prominent and the wear isn't too heavy. However, mint state examples are the real prize. Full luster, sharp strike, minimal contact marks, those are the attributes that set the best pieces apart. If you think you might have an Alaska quarter worth something, it's absolutely worth giving it a close inspection. A magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe is your best friend here. Look closely at the bear's paw where it holds the fish. The extra claw appears as a small, raised bump or spike near the base of the paw. It's subtle, but once you know what you're looking for, it's unmistakable. A few quick tips for collectors. First, stick with coins that show a clear and distinct extra claw. Weak, partial die breaks where the extra claw is barely visible don't command nearly as high of premiums. Second, proper storage is key. Just like with the Colorado quarter, keep any valuable Alaska quarters in protective holders. Third, if you're serious about maximizing value, have your coin professionally graded. A certified grade can mean hundreds of dollars in extra value at auction. It's also worth noting that while the extra claw error is the most famous, a few other minor Alaska quarter errors exist, including off-center strikes and die cracks elsewhere on the design. However, none have captured the collector's imagination quite like the grizzly bear's bonus claw. There's a certain poetry to it, really. Alaska, a place known for its vastness, its ruggedness, its spirit of survival, ends up giving us a quarter that mirrors all those traits. A coin that's a little rough around the edges, imperfect in a way that makes it even more valuable. So, whether you're searching through an old change jar, browsing flea markets, or flipping through dealer binders, keep an eye out for the grizzly with the bonus claw. It's a tiny detail, but it's worth its weight in silver, and then some. Bringing it all together, it's remarkable how two coins born from the same nationwide program, minted only 2 years apart, could each become legends in their own right for entirely different reasons. The Colorado quarter taught us that even a tiny gouge can create a four-figure masterpiece. The Alaska quarter showed that a small crack could turn a humble bear into a golden opportunity. Both are perfect reminders that in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most valuable things are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone who knows where and how to look.